Welcome back to Counsil Customs. So after getting our butt whooped on the Bronco last week, I ended up ordering a fresh set of header gaskets. So I want to go over all the header gaskets right now of what we got, what OEM is, and what our solution was or is. I haven't even fired it up to see if it works yet. It's just the one we're going with. So let me move these out of the way and I'll show you what an OEM. Let me rephrase that. Let me back it up a little bit. Whenever I took the manifolds off this truck, because it still had manifolds. Whenever I took the manifolds off this truck, there was no gaskets. I was puzzled by that. So I did a little research and they said apparently whenever they built these engines, there was no gasket. They machined everything flat and bolted together, no gaskets from the factory. So, get a little exhaust leak, you throw a gasket in there. Now, the thing is, most of the time whenever these do have an issue, it's because you have a cracked manifold. So I kind of figured it's what we were dealing with. That's why I went the headers route, because I figured I was going to take it apart. I was going to find a cracked manifold. Now, in our case, I took it apart and I found where the manifold was either warped or something, because all the bolts were tight, but it was leaking around the joint between the head and the exhaust manifold. So here's what a stock exhaust manifold looks like. Super thin, super thin. You got paper on one side and metal on the other. This is a Felpro gasket. Should be a good gasket, but it's very thin. So I did not use these because this is what the headers came with. Now, apparently these are absolute junk. It has metal on both sides. Let me show you the top side with material in between. Let me grab the factory gasket and show you the thickness difference. Quite a bit different. So I figured this would be a good solution. This aftermarket gasket. If y'all remember last week, or if you haven't, go back and watch it. I fired it up and it had a horrible exhaust leak. So I went ahead and ordered a new set of gaskets, and I went and did something a little different, which I'll show you here in just a second. But upon removing these, here's what I found. Look at that right there. This truck only ran for about 4 minutes total, and it already blew the gasket out right there, ripped the gasket open right there, blew the gasket open right there. Same thing down here. Like I said, this truck only ran for maybe 4 minutes total. And this is on the passenger side. Here's the driver's side one. I mean, we're blown out on the corner. Same thing right there, blown apart. And this one, I mean, goodness gracious, look at that. So that's what we're dealing with those. So these two, junk. This one, brand new. I could put it back in my kit. So here's what I did to solve our issue. I did a little bit of research and I found these. These are Rimflex exhaust gaskets. This is a graphite covered crush gasket. This gasket starts out at an 1/8 inch, made to crush down to a 1/16. It'll take up any bit of variation you might have. It says that it's good for up to 3,000 Fahrenheit, 50% crush, guaranteed to stop exhaust leaks. We'll see how that is. But these are made in the USA. We're gonna give them a shot. I already put one in. I put the passenger side one in. It seemed to go in pretty easy. I've got the driver's side one now. I'm trying to be very gentle with this because if you do bend this gasket at all, this will all crack off of it and it's junk. It has to stay, these are very fragile. It has to stay perfectly flat on the install process. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this one bolted into place, get it all tightened back down. And if y'all do remember, I have stage 8 fasteners, which are these right here. And I'll show you real quick. What these do is, once you get your bolt tightened into place, you drop that little ring on there, and it sits flush up against your header right here, and now your bolt can't back out because it has a hexagonal cut in this piece. And then you drop a E-clip down inside of it, locking it on there. It's got that groove right there to hold the E-clip. So once these are all bolted in, they can't spin out. Before I fire it up, I'll show you them all installed and you can see what I mean. But I've ran those stage 8 fasteners on dang near every truck I've got. The Chicken Ranch has got it. My old 65 or my old 66 F100 had it. The Bronco's now getting it. The Wagon's got it. I know I've put them on more. The Hudson up front's got it. I know we put them on more than that. They're on the pricey side, but what they do, I mean, it's worth it. If you've ever dealt with header bolts loosening up, it's worth spending the money on it. Just a little bit of insurance, so that way you don't have to deal with that in the future. But now I'm going to grab this gasket, get it slammed in here. Let's get it fired up and see if we fixed it so we can move on to something else. All right, let's see if we're fixed. Okay, so we have a little bit of a leak on this side. Passenger side is solid. I'm just trying to locate it right now, see exactly where it's at. But this side over here is perfectly solid. This side can get bolted back up. So I kicked it old school and grabbed a piece of hose that was pretty large. I stuck one end up to my ear, and then I could take the other end and shove it around inside of there and direct exactly where I'm hearing from. 1, 2, 3 were solid. I checked everything down low where I had welded before. Everything down there is good. But cylinder 4 on this side, the backmost one, that one has a leak around it. So I'm going to take those keepers back off of there and try to tighten this side, the rear cylinder again, and then see what happens. The only bad part is now everything's warm. It's fixed, no exhaust leaks. So now let me get the hood shut, the inner fender well, skirts and the tires thrown back on this thing, and I can start driving it again. So I got stuff going on all over the place. Right now I'm about to pull the carburetor off of this, so that way it's ready to rebuild since the whole escapade. Bought a fresh kit that is got absolutely excellent reviews, so I'm gonna try that one in it. I'm not gonna make y'all sit through that. We'll just whenever we get to test firing it, we'll all do it together. And over here, while I'm doing that, I'm waiting on the Bronco to cool down. Got a tiny exhaust leak. After driving it last night, it came in, which, okay, that's fine. I did the same trick, holding a piece of hose up to my ear to locate it. Found it in the same spot. It's the same corner, driver's side rear. So once this cools down, I can get to it really easy and get in there and tighten that back up again. And I'm sure y'all have noticed the belt squeal, still trying to mitigate that, figure out exactly what's causing it. I did notice that I've now narrowed it down to the belt squeal starts, whenever you first fire the truck up. But if you have the AC on, and if you have the AC on full blast, it goes more. But it's not the compressor and it's not the alternator. I think it's because we did the AC or the smog delete And I didn't do it the way where you go buy a big idler and do all that stuff. I just removed it all and then put a belt on there to fit. I think you have too much slack right down between the crank and the alternator. So what I'm trying is double checking to make sure. I went and got a new tensioner, but I'm gonna try putting this on it and see if this fixes it, and we'll go from there. But I'm waiting on all this stuff to cool down for a minute before I go touching it anymore, because it's hot. I just drove it up here. But I'm gonna let all that cool down and take the carburetor off the chicken ranch. All right, so now that we got so much done on the Bronco, I've got the carburetor off of the chicken ranch here, and this has been sitting here for 10 minutes and hasn't flipped over once. As soon as I start videoing, it flips over. But I've got some instructions, a better kit. This has excellent reviews online. It already looks to be in better condition. So I'm gonna completely rebuild this carburetor again and see what happens. I don't know if I'm gonna get it done this week or not, but I've got a lot going on. We're going out of town this weekend. I've got a bunch of stuff to do during the week this week. Carburetor on this, a couple of things coming in for the Bronco. I got a buddy's exhaust I'm doing tomorrow. All kinds of stuff. I got a packed list, so we got to keep moving. So I'm gonna get this rebuilt get this rebuilt again. Y'all saw me do it a couple weeks ago. Y'all saw how terrible it went. So I'm not gonna make y'all watch me do it again. I'm just gonna rebuild it and we'll go from there. Okay, so I've got it running. I'll tell you right now, it's steady dropping fuel out of the rear. So I need to look into that. Also the front, right here, this piece right here with the screw, that's your pump shot. And when I hit the throttle, it should be shooting gas out. And I'll show you. We're not getting anything. If I press the pump shot right here, we're not doing anything. So I've got to figure out why the pump shot's not working, why the rear is leaking, and because right now, it's doing all right, but once I see, it's bogging down. It's not getting enough fuel, or it's overloading on fuel. I think it's overloading on fuel. So I'm gonna have to pull the carburetor back off, dig into that, and figure out what's going on there. Also, another sign that it's overloaded on fuel. I don't know if y'all can see all the black soot coming out of there. It's got a lot of black soot coming out of there, meaning it's overloading on fuel. All right, so last thing I'm gonna try to get done to the truck this week is, y'all have noticed in all the videos of me firing it up that clearly the belt is making noise. Two things to that. One, whenever I did the smog pump delete, I did the rerouting of the belt. There's a guy on YouTube said, hey, use this pulley and this belt, do it this way and you don't have to worry about it. Instead of using the factory deal and you put an idler in place of the smog pump. Tried that. I've been fighting with it ever since. It's been squeaking pretty much since day one. Not quite. Actually, you get like a couple of days in, then it starts squeaking. But one thing I noticed is pretty much since we've gotten the Bronco, you've had slowly a blinking battery light occasionally. It's been getting more and more frequent, and also whenever you reach in here and grab the alternator, I doubt you'll be able to hear it on video, but it makes a little tiny squeak noise. And I can barely get it to do it spinning it by hand, but every now and then spinning it by hand, I can get it to do it. But this is a factory 90 amp I've seen some reports that say 95 amp, 90 amp, 75 amp. Doesn't matter. We're upgrading. So the upgrade to that is this Power Stroke. Some people say it was easier to find a Power Stroke one. Now it should be the correct bolt pattern, but Power Stroke, 130 amp alternator. Now you do have to run a bigger power wire off the back side. So I do have some wire to do that, and you need to run a mega fuse right there. So you got to run a mega fuse whenever you do that and run that to it, and you can get 130 amp. Now this is an 8 rib pulley on here, whereas this is a 6 rib setup. So I already measured the size of the pulley on here and the size of the pulley on there, and they're the exact same size pulleys. So I just need to pull this alternator out, put it on the table, swap pulleys, put that 130 amp alternator back in here, run a new power wire, and I should have a fresh upgraded alternator. So I'm going to jump on that real quick and get it knocked out, and we can put the belt back on in the configuration that we have right now and go from there. If it has a squeak, we'll see what happens. So here's the size comparison of the two of them side by side. Now supposedly, from what I understand, if you have the 4 holes, that's the lower amperage. If you have the 2 holes, that's the bigger amperage. But besides that, you can see the overall size difference. But the holes is like if you go pop the hood and quick look in, that's how you can tell the difference. If you have 4, it's low. If you have the 2, it's large. So now I've got the socket. I need to pop these 2 off here, swap them around real fast, and then let me try this also real quick. I wanted to see if I put the impact on here. That's definitely not nearly as balanced as the new one. But doesn't matter, it's getting replaced anyway. So let's get the new one thrown in here and go from there. All right, so there we go. New alternator's in. New mega fuse is in over here to the side. Go around here, fire it up, see if the belt squeaks. seems absolutely perfect. I don't see, before this section of belt right here was flopping like crazy, and now you see it's pretty much nice and tight down through there. Right there was like wow, 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 wow. Now it's nice and solid. So let's come in here. We do have a battery light on. Don't know why that is. Let me see. All right, so I don't have it wired correctly, so I just got to run through the wiring real quick. I got the mega switch or mega fuse put in, but I guess it's something else I missed in the system. So whatever, ain't nothing. We'll get it taken care of. But the belt squeak is gone. Everything up here seems happy. We just need to make sure we get the alternator charging again, which I think could be a pretty simple task. We'll just deal with that another day. Working with this thing, trying to get it going. Got a lot going there. Got a couple more things on the Bronco before it's kind of on hold for a little while. And then we get on the other multiple projects we got going on around here. But, so you thought that's where I was gonna end it? Of course not. We're on vacation. Brought the camper out. We got the truck. The youngest, or the oldest one inside sleeping. Youngest one out here playing. Amanda's hanging out with her. Of course, I went and checked Marketplace because we're out of town. Look and see what the deal is that I can find on there. And an upgrade for the Broncos is you put an Expedition Center console in it. So I happened to find one out here, and I hit the guy up and said, hey, how much would you want for it? He was he was parting out the truck, and he said, if you want it, you can have it. So he disassembled it and he took it out because I didn't have any tools with me, which I greatly appreciate. But now I just brought it home in pieces, and I'm just gonna put it back together somewhat. That way I can throw it in the back of the truck and be able to bring it back to the shop with us. And then from there, I can pressure wash it, disassemble it, clean it up really good. It's gonna have to be painted to match the truck and all that stuff. But that's awesome. We got center console. I've been planning on doing this for a while, so I have it all in my head on how I want to put it together. It's not just going to be a simple swap. I have a couple of things up my sleeve for it, so be looking out for that. And appreciate y'all watching. See y'all next week.